Welcome to Navigating Your 20s. I'm your host, Jess Hugo, and I am so excited to have you here. I'm an online personal trainer and nutritionist, but honestly, underneath it all, I am just a girl who is struggling, thriving, and surviving somehow all at once. So if this is you, you are not alone. If you want all the juicy tea on what it's like to be a girl navigating her 20s, I'm talking relationships, health, fitness, social life, work, and everything in between, then you're in the right place.
Hello queens, welcome back to another episode. Now she's getting deep. I feel like I say that every time and then I'm sharing the most rogue shit. You already know what to expect from me, so let's go straight in, because there was a time where I felt completely stuck in my life. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what made me happy. I didn't know who I was. I felt very, very lost, and I do spend some time reflecting on this period of my life because I felt like I wanted to make new friends. I wanted to do new things, find new hobbies, like all of the things, but that is just not easy. I think a lot of people kind of glamorize and pretend it is easy to make new friends and start new hobbies and do new things, but it's not. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of consideration, and there's just so many things that go into it. But something you can really easily do without going balls deep in all of that is reinventing yourself and kind of doing the things that make you happy and figuring that out without having to go do a new hobby, go make new friendships, because happiness starts within and starts with you. So by the end of this episode, I'm going to have 5 practical tips for you to implement ASAP, become the best version of yourself. We're going to have journal prompts, all of the things, because we are going to start fresh and reinvent ourselves without burning our whole entire life down. Because remember, I told you guys that there is seasons and they serve purposes, but sometimes we need to move forward and reinvent ourselves, because I know sometimes you just want everything to change, which can be scary, but also okay. So first things first, reinvent. Wow, I literally stuffed up my first line. Reinvention does not equal failure. I think that is what we need to get out of your head right now. Struggling, anything like that is not failing. It means that you need a little hand along the way. And this is very, very common. As you guys know, I work very closely with a lot of women towards their goals. And I think a lot of us have this idea of, okay, I'm going to sign up to coaching. I'm going to lose a couple kilos. I'm going to be at my goal weight by X date and I'm going to feel great. And it is so good to go in with those intentions and that goal and have something to work towards. But life is never linear. Things always pop up literally all the time. I constantly say this to my girls. You're going to get sick, someone in the family, something's going to happen with them. You are going to get invited to a work trip. You're going to get a promotion. You're going to get this. Your friends are going to book a retreat. Like, there's so many different things that pop up, and we need to know how to navigate in that space and be okay with things constantly changing, because that is a sign of growth. And I always say to my girls, I don't actually care that this week you weren't down on the scales or this week you weren't doing this, because you have proven to yourself how far you've come. Something I want you to reflect on before we even go in is, if you're in a place right now where you're like, I don't feel good about this, I haven't been achieving this, insert the thing. How would old you have dealt with this? I'm going to give an example. One of my clients, there's so much going on in her life. Her life is crazy, and there's some stuff going on with her family and just so many things happening, right? And she was like, I feel so shit because I didn't get into the gym today and it's just really frustrating. I'm trying to work towards my goals. And I said, I want you to just take a moment. First of all, breathe. Second of all, what would old you have done? How would the old version of you who hadn't been working on getting into the gym, creating a simple routine, working with a coach, how would you have navigated this time? And she was like, I probably would have like completely thrown in the towel, emotional 8, given up completely, like just gone MIA. And I was like, exactly. So the fact that you're here having this conversation with me, still showing up, still doing the things that you said you would do, proves to me and yourself how far you've come. And that alone you should be completely and utterly proud of, regardless of what the scale says this morning, regardless of anything, because that shows me how much you've grown. You've been able to reinvent yourself and get that 1% better without it necessarily tying to a weight loss achievement or anything like that. And she was like, that's so true. Like, the old me would have completely just given up, thrown in the towel, just kind of like thrown a pity party for myself. And I was like, exactly. Because the old version of you would shame yourself due to the judgments of others, due to being inside your comfort zone, due to being attached to that old identity. And this is why I talk about, a lot of people come to me and are like, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, what else? Because there are so many things deep down that you want to change. And sometimes it can be, I want to get ready to try out and apply for the police. I want to make new friendships. I want to go overseas and be able to travel and feel really great. I know that my partner is going to be proposing to me soon. We're going to get engaged. I want to do an engagement shoot. So I want to feel like my best version of myself for that. I want to look strong and toned, and I want to look and feel really amazing and look back at those pictures and absolutely love how I feel. There's been this trend going around where you show the photos that you never posted because you felt some type of way about them. And we are our own worst critics. A lot of the time I see the photos and I think there's nothing wrong with them. And that is very much feeling like we just need to tear ourselves apart and we're never good enough. And that is where I come in. I feel like the girls in my world are just whole new humans after a couple of months, and it's not even to do with their fucking body weight, it's their confidence. Even just like, I'm a voice message girl, you'll know this if you work with me. I always send a good voice message. A lot of people don't send voice messages. I feel like it's not very like common. If you don't really have major confidence, if you feel like, oh, I hate how my voice sounds, I've never even thought about that. If people hate my voice, it's one-sided beef, I think, because I don't even know. But when we tear ourselves apart about all these things and we can't even send a voice message, it really shows how much we put ourselves down, right? But then my girls, after a couple of months, will start sending voice messages and start being really open and sharing about things. And I love it because it's so much more than that. And it helps me be a better coach for them, knowing that they're dating, they're going on dates. So then we're talking about how to navigate menus and food with that. And they're meeting new guys and then making sure this guy like actually supports their goals and is on board with them needing to train a couple times a week and get in the gym, and can they support them in that way and all of the things. And that also helps us move on from this old identity. And right now, you probably clicked on this episode because you need reinvention. You need some type of factory reset. You want to restart. You want to start fresh. You need like something. You're like, give me a sign from the universe. Because you feel uninspired by your daily life. Things are feeling mundane. You're waking up every day. You're doing the same things every day. You're doing the same things in the gym. Your program feels boring. You feel like unhappy with the food you're eating because it's bland and boring. And it's like, what changes can we make? What changes can we make? Right now, you're clinging to habits or friendships that don't align with you. You guys know I talk about this a lot. As soon as I feel unaligned with someone, I'm like, not hanging out with them again. Nope. I don't care if that makes me a bitch, because I have to protect my own peace and make sure that I am in alignment with the people that I surround myself with, which is more important to me than an unaligned friendship. That doesn't mean you need to be a cunt. That does not mean you need to be a bitch and cut someone off. But if you pull back a little bit, why can't that be okay? Okay. You need reinvention if your environment feels like it belongs to your old self. So as I was saying, how past you would have navigated this current time period. How is she still showing up in different ways? Do we need to just move around some things in your room? Do we need to get a new bedside table? Do we need to get some fresh candles? Do we need a new perfume scent? What is something that we can implement? And lastly, your goals no longer excite you. So I talked about this a couple episodes back about leaning in with all the goal setting with my clients, making sure that they are across what their goals are. And we actually kind of broke it down into a bit more of a sizable chunk. So obviously they have a major overarching goal, and I was like, okay, what can we achieve in the next 3 months and how can we get there? And we really wrote down and broke down how to do it. And I think that is really, really important, especially in long-term coaching. So right now, if you've been with a coach for a little while, I definitely highly recommend saying, hey, I'm just feeling a little bit stuck on my goals, or if you're feeling this way, I'm feeling a little bit like lost and unsure on how I'm going to get there. Like, can we just chat back and forth? And a good coach is so willing to do that, or a good coach actually opens the door first. So as I said, I saw that some of my one-to-ones just were falling off track a little bit, not in any bad way. They just weren't really like working towards anything. They're kind of going through. And I was like, okay, cool, let's get back on track and just nip it in the bud a little bit. And it's just like a gentle push forward. And we had that conversation, and then I sent them notes afterwards. And I wrote like, we're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing that and let's do this and whatever. And then one of my girls was like, I love that you wrote we. And I was like, it's because it's a collaboration. I think it's really, really important to be open to being collaborative. And something I always say as well is I always ask my clients, 1, does that make sense? 2, what are your thoughts? 3, what can we do and what support are you needing from me? Because it's a collaboration, and I'm not just going to say, okay, cool, we need to do a goal reset if they don't need to. You know what I mean? So making sure that you are across what you're wanting right now and really clear and have like clarity around what's important, what's not working, what's working, all of the things. Because if you are working towards a weight loss goal that's no longer exciting you because you feel super lethargic, your deficit is out of reach, you've kind of got the winter blues, then we need a reset. I actually did get a message the other day, and she said she felt very burnt out by her deficit. This is not my client. I don't know anything about this girl. But she said she felt very burnt out by her deficit. She felt like she was just chasing her tail, never seeing results, all of the things. That's a sign that your goals need to be kind of reworked and realigned because something is not working right now and something needs to change. Otherwise, you are going to be on this downwards trajectory of not knowing what you're doing, and all your results and goals are just going to go down, down, down. You're going to gain back the weight. You're going to be struggling, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm so burnt out. I've got the winter blues. You're not burnt out. You're burnt out chasing goals that no longer align with you. And I've struggled with the same thing in business. I've done things that, like, I've been working towards things that then I was like, I actually don't want that. I don't think that aligns with me anymore. And then I felt a bit lost because I was like, oh, I'm not working towards that now. I need to do a bit of a reset. So where can we do a reset? First, starting with like auditing our actual current life. What feels heavy? What feels exciting in any area of your life, not just fitness, friendships, work, books, hobbies. Like, if you are so fucking excited to go see a new movie at the cinemas, go see it. If it feels so heavy to have a conversation with your friend and how they're treating you right now, have that conversation and end it, because it is weighing so heavy on your mind. Something needs to change. I know for me, if something happens and it's affecting my day, I deal with it straight away. I don't care if it's me having to message instantly. I don't care what it is. I nip it in the bud. Otherwise, it goes on and drains your day, drains your week, and then it flows into other things. I know sometimes things pop up for me in work and then it starts flowing on into my relationship. And then I'm like, hold on, I need to deal with this because I'm getting upset, I'm getting angry, I'm feeling some type of way, and I need to deal with this first so that I can come into this conversation with you feeling really clear and happy and all of the things because I've dealt with this. So dealing with what needs to be dealt with. And reflection piece is, if nothing changed in the next 6 months, how would you feel? And I'm going to answer this question. Shit. I would be unhappy with the lack of work that I potentially put in. I'd be unhappy to be in the same place. I would be unhappy thinking about how everyone probably really utilized the last 6 months and I just stayed in the same place. I wouldn't be very happy with that. And if you guys listened to the previous episode, my ChatGPT curse is that I am always moving forward. Yes, but 6 months is a very long time and you could literally reinvent yourself completely. Your body, your mind, your relationships, your friendships, and everything in 6 months' time. So I want you to pause this episode, or even right now while I'm talking, write it in your notes. If nothing changed in the next 6 months, how would you feel? And just brain dump it. Okay, next, define the next reinvented version of you, your future self, that girl, the it girl. What does she wear? How does she eat? How does she show up? Is she a toned and trendy gal? What is the vibe? Who does she spend her time with? Like, get really clear on who this girl is. Because if you're like, oh, in 6 months, I just want to be hotter. Girl, what do you mean? What does that mean? What do you need to do to get hotter? Do you need to be training a couple days of the week in the gym? Do you need to be going to Pilates? Do you need to stretch more? What do you need to be doing to be that hotter girl? Write a day in her life. Day in the life of the version of me in 6 months' time. Day in the life of that fucking girl, the it girl, the girl I want to be. What does that look like for her? Is she going to wake up and feel really fucking 10 out of 10? She's going to fucking go have her coffee in the sun on the balcony. Like, what is that vibe of that girl? I would love to know, and write it down. Next, upgrading your environment. I said this just before, just moving around like your room a little bit, maybe getting a new bedside table. The other day I actually saw this really cute ottoman and it was Bolche, same as this chair, in Kmart, and I was like, cute. I do not need it. I already have a Bolche bed and a Bolche chair. I think an ottoman would be overkill, but like just little things like that. Start with one little area, a new little candle, a new little ottoman, a new pillow. Honestly, the Kmart pillow section, pop off queen. Like just something new and different that you can change up your space and change up the energy in your space and the vibes in your space. If you want to go balls to the wall, a lick of paint wouldn't fucking hurt. This room, we painted this color, the gray, but we left our office like the old color. And every time I'm in the office, I'm like, ugh, I hate this color of the walls. Just stupid shit like that can actually make a massive difference. Even think about a painting that's probably been sitting on your floor for like 12 months so you haven't hung up. Hang it up. Upgrade your environment. Change it up. Small, simple changes can make such big results and impact on how you're feeling. Okay. Aligning your habits with your goals. So making sure that the goals that you're writing down and the girl you want to be is actually aligned with your current routine that you're auditing. So making sure that you do get your training sessions in, that you are journaling. Stop shitting on journaling. Stop shitting on journaling. I had something happen to me the other day. I literally wrote out exactly what was happening, like literally within 10 minutes of it happening. And I felt so much better just getting it on paper and writing it down. And it was probably so messy and so crazy, but I felt so good about it. And don't forget to date it so you can look back on when you wrote that, how you're feeling, how much has changed in the 6 months. Like I highly recommend doing that because you need to start moving towards becoming her before you feel ready. Right now it probably feels really scary. But you need to act like her first, and then the rest will be a flow-on effect. I talk about the flow-on effect a lot. Think about how like you want to lose weight, right? If you start implementing changes and structure to your routine and you start just making better choices with food, and go back to the episode I did about how your mind and your food is all connected. When you start implementing those things, the flow-on effect is weight loss without needing to do anything crazy. You just need to edit and audit little areas of your life and start acting like her. And then just commit. Literally just commit. I know a lot of you are like, I'm just so lazy. You're not lazy. You just don't have any simplicity or structure or routine, and it's making everything feel really, really overwhelmed right now, and you feel like you can't commit. First things first is commitment. Commit to yourself. You don't need permission to change. You don't need permission to do anything. You're the one that gives yourself permission. Start small, stay consistent. And if you're needing help with consistency, I literally have a whole Consistent Queen bundle on my website. I'll try to remember to link it below. God help me, I'll probably forget. If not, go to my website. It's literally successofjess.com.au, and you can get my Consistent Queen bundle and implement it straight away. And it is so good. It's small, digestible videos, and I have a lot of video on there about how I literally audit my routine and make my routine super easy to stay consistent with, small little habits that I do and all of the things. So if you're wanting to know a bit more about like my day-to-day life and how I show up and do all of the things, that is in there as well. Okay, people might say you've changed. People might give you pushback. People are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're working on being consistent. I can't believe you're working on this, working on that, because they are going to feel inferior. They're going to feel jealous that they can't commit to being consistent. They're going to feel some type of way about the fact that you are up and you're moving forward and progressing on, and they're getting stuck behind in their shit. If someone says to you, oh my God, you've changed, like you're not the same anymore, all I want you to respond is good. I'm glad I changed because I wasn't happy with the person I was. I'm glad I changed because I was showing up in ways that I didn't enjoy. I'm glad I changed because I had no energy, I had brain fog, I had low moods, and I was feeling really upset with everything going on in my life. I was fucking hating my life. So good. That's what I want you to say. And if friends and family are going to be unsupportive, move in silence. I know how lonely it can be when you're making moves and you have no one to tell, which is why I very much think it's important to be in coaching and things, to have that proximity and talk to someone about popping up and things like that. I find that really, really important because unfortunately, like friends, relationships, family, they never understand the full extent to it. But getting comfortable with less with them and writing in a journal. And if you're like, oh, writing's not for me, video diary, just film yourself on your phone. We have our phones attached to our hips. Can we just pull it up and do like a little video of, oh my gosh, today this happened. Why is that lame and cringe? I don't get it. I literally don't get it. I don't know why self-development and like doing better, doing more, working on yourself is labeled as cringe and lame. I think it's cringe and lame that you don't want to work on yourself, that you don't want to grow, that you don't want to do better. I think that's lame and cringe. Because how mundane and boring and miserable is that to stay in the exact same place that you're in right now? If you want to be unhappy right now and be unhappy in 6 months, that's your prerogative. Don't drag me down, bitch, because I will be making moves. You need to go in with that mindset and mentality. So if this episode hit home and you're ready to reinvent your body, your life, all of the things, I can't wait to hear it from you. Go get the Consistent Queen bundle. I swear by it. Trust me, it's like all my good things in one. And I even threw bonuses in there with form feedback and things like that, so you can just really elevate every single area of your life and get really, really consistent. That is all from me. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little bit different, but I really want you to lean into the journal entries and all of the things. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you rate the podcast 5 stars. It helps me grow. I really appreciate it. And if you have any podcast recommendations, like episode recommendations that you want to hear from me, or topics that you want me to talk on that you want to know more about, slide into my DMs or go into my broadcast on Instagram, because I actually put up an anonymous link. So for my private little girls, my secretive little girls, I have put a link so that if you feel a bit more comfortable doing it anonymously, just send it through to me so that I can make sure I make these episodes really catered to what you're needing right now in navigating your 20s, because it's a shit show and we are all going up and down through it all the time. So I want to make sure that I can help you in the best way possible, because I understand sometimes coaching is not viable and you need access in different ways. And that's the whole point of the podcast. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will catch you all in the next one. And don't forget to slide into my DMs. Mwah. That's a wrap on another episode of Navigating Your 20s. Thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed the conversation, vibes, and got something out of today, please feel free to send me a DM with any key takeaways and feedback, or share on your socials and tag me so we can connect. If you liked today's episode and you're wanting more from me, you can find me on all socials at success.withjess.